Hey everyone, Daniel here with a bit of an update on my C3 build. So I've been working the last week and have managed to get, I believe, everything disconnected from the engine and the transmission. So great news, we're ready to pull the engine and transmission out. Unfortunately, I'm just waiting on my hoist at the moment. So that will arrive whenever it arrives, hopefully by next weekend. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the transmission and the engine out as one unit because the transmission is pretty buggered on this old car. It's 40 years old, so I want to replace it anyway. Also, to get clearance to pull the engine, I pulled the radiator, which you can see chilling over there before it goes to the scrapyard. And also took off a bit of the car, the frame that was holding the radiator in there, which I don't have handy at the moment. And that should give me the necessary clearance to pull the engine up and out along with the transmission. Obviously I'm going to go with a new radiator, especially if I get a big block, make sure it keeps it cool. So one other thing I've been doing, since I'm not a complete expert by any stretch of the imagination on car building and so forth, is I've been labeling with numbers all the different connections that have come apart off the car. Off the engine I should say, and then writing a little bit of a notes book here. That way when I go to hook everything back up, won't miss anything and won't have one of those head scratching moments where I'm just not sure where things went. So not a perfect system, but it's also bound to work a bit better than just unplugging everything and hoping for the best, because in a few months time it's going to be quite confusing what some of those things are, and I'm bound to miss something if I don't take any notes. And then once it's out, I'm going to make my final decision on exactly what engine I'm putting back in here. So the tentative plan at the moment is actually going to be a big block swap. So critical for that was the engine placement, because as per my last video, my car is right-hand drive converted to make it easier to drive here in Australia. However, that means though that the power steering control valve sits in the way of the headers and would be quite problematic for a big block, most likely, depending on exactly where the exhaust outlets were on the cylinder head. However, thankfully I have found some control valves that are smaller, more compact, that can sit down more this way out of the way and allow me to fit a glorious big block under the hood. So there is still the possibility I may opt with an aggressive small block build, like a 434 stroker with a big gas bloody cam, something real sweet like that. But then if I can afford it and if I can fit it in there, really want to go off that big block, and then I'll find a new use for this motor or sell it, depending on its condition. Because as per my last video, for anyone who didn't watch, there's quite a bit of rust that was coming out of the engine and the coolant system. So once I get it out of there, I need to reassess, make sure it's even really the block's usable, because I bought this car, I really don't know what kind of condition it's in. If I do go for a big block though, which is my dream, I'm not talking no 454, I want to go something big, so at least 540, maybe even a 615. Way I see it, go big or go home. I want that 10 litres under the hood. And yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at the moment. Tentative plans all seem well, getting prices for all kinds of different components. And I'll film another video once everything's sorted out when I'm pulling the engine out. So, till then, stay chilled.